What's going on, everyone? This is Joshua from Future Filmmaker 3940 Reviews. Despite the name change, I am here now that you've seen my best of and my most surprising and disappointing and my superhero tier ranking. It's high time to give you guys the annual top 10 worst movies of the year. 2021 has been great by giving us movies again, some surprises, some letdowns, some movies that are my favorites. But as usual, we always gotta talk about those movies that frustrates me for one reason or the other. There are 10 movies on this worst of list that all of them are suck. Some of them more so, some of them just irritated me on a personal level. One of them is heavily offensive, or two of them. But this is my list. If you have a problem with the top 10 list, or is there something you like that I didn't like, or something you hate that I liked, or is there worse movies that you saw this year that should be on this list, if they're not on there, I didn't see it, or I just didn't bother. This is my personal list, so if you don't like the list of choices here, please do not get angry. Be sure to like, comment, and share this video, and also it does help with the algorithm, so let's get started. Coming in number 10 is the most stupidest action movie of the year, and that is Vanquish. Ruby Rose and Morgan Freeman in this movie. Oh man, this is one of the worst made action movies of this entire year and of all time. Vanquish, this is a movie that it is incredibly boring. The story of this movie is nonsensical. There's not much stuff happening, not much going on here. The damn freaking characters, there is no characterization. Even your main character, Ruby Rose, who I don't hate her as an actress, just don't she's that great of an actress. I haven't really seen her anything that impressed me besides Untitled Chapter 2 and the somewhat XXX3, but she is not very good and convincing in the lead. Morgan Freeman, Oscar caliber actor, and he is completely wasted in here. You also have people like Hannah Stocking and also other actors in here. They are completely wasted, and the action is... oh my god, the action in this movie is insanely boring. And not only that, the action scenes, they don't even last that long. If you're not gonna have a decent enough plot with a bad action movie like this, you gotta at least have some good action. And the action doesn't last anything but under 5 seconds. That's what it is. It just lasts for 5 seconds. On top of that, not only you did this, but the cinematography is bad. I think there's fine cinematography. I think there is some okay performances from Hannah Stocking and the little girl who plays the daughter. And I will say that even the production design here, it looks fine, but it doesn't make up for how bad the direction is. It doesn't make up for the acting. It doesn't even make up for how badly the action is done here. And the writer of this movie, George Gallo, he's done better. Bad Boys and Midnight Run were two better written movies, and he is a much better competent actor. And seriously, how much money did y'all pay Morgan Freeman to do this? Seriously, I know he's older now and he's still out there trying to work, but come on, this money couldn't have been that good to be in this. All in all, Vanquish is a terrible action movie and deserves to be forgotten. Coming to number 9, ooh, talk about disappointments, and that is Chaos Walking. Okay, when this was initially scheduled to come out, I was one of those people who went in optimistic, with an optimistic mindset. Then, due delay, after production troubles, after delay, you all guys all know the story of this movie. This movie was shot back in 2017 or such. Then, as they were making the movie got shelved, and then year after year after year after year, this movie saw a huge big delay problem because of other movies, because of scheduled releases, also because of Daisy Ridley and Tom Holland's involvement with their own franchises. And ultimately, this isn't one of the worst sci-fi movies ever. It does have a good visual aesthetic look to it, and the money is on the screen. And I will say there are some performances in this movie I think are actually very competent. Tom Holland, as always, he is dependable. Mads Mikkelsen, wasted, but he is still dependable. Even some of the other actors like Nick Jonas, David Oyelowo, and even Cynthia Erivo, they're trying, but ultimately, unfortunately, when it comes to your main female character, despite me liking this actress, I could not get into Daisy Ridley in this movie. I couldn't. And that's unfortunate too, because I usually like Daisy Ridley. I do. And I'm not going to apologize for it, but when performances like Daniela Melchior and Karen Gillan in Gunpowder Milkshake, and even to a certain extent, the performances of some of the Netflix movies and Hallmark movies that I saw this year were better, there is a problem because I expected more out of this performance. Maybe it's the script, or maybe it's the freaking way she is directed or she's acting, but come on, Daisy. Just man the heck up. And also, there is no excuse for this world. Nothing here is that much explored as much. You have an interesting idea with the noise and such, and I think that was interesting. I think that's cool. I also can say that there is some good visual effects and the good score and the cinematography. And there are moments where this world could have easily been filled with potential, but any potential that's there is completely thrown out the window. And also, this movie has to have some kind of studio interference thing going for it. The whole thing with the noise and certain things and certain characters not being explained and such, I'm sorry, this is just not as interesting as it could have been. This is a really frustrating movie and definitely one of the biggest box office bombs for sure. It hurts me having to say this because I do like young adult sci-fi genres like this, but if it's something that could be interesting, if you're not gonna try, then it should not be done. That's all I can say. With that being said, Chaos Walking is my number 9. Coming in number 8, another horror movie, and that is Escape Room Tournament of Champions. The first Escape Room I thought was, while not good, I thought it was fine for what it was. Cut to this movie, and Escape Room Tournament of Champions not only undoes everything that the first movie set up and did, but also, once again, this proves why certain things should be better left as a standalone film. And now on top of that, I just gotta say right now, what is up with the retconning throughout this entire movie? Like, these people have played the game before, and now they're stuck playing the game again. Oh man, I was like, really? Really? This is the best you can come up with? Cue the memes. And on top of that, the direction and writing this time around, I did not care about any of these characters, despite some good performances from a lot of this cast. Taylor Russell is a good actress. Holland Taylor from Teen Wolf, Bring It On Fight to the Finish, a movie I don't like, but I can still watch it. They're both complete. This entire cast is completely underutilized. No one here doesn't get at least a moment of character development. The traps in this movie, once again, they're interesting traps, and I do like the concept of an escape room and a tournament of champions. I do like the idea and the concept, but it just does not fully go full-fledged in terms of it. I really wanted to like Escape Room Tournament of Champions, but between the crazy characters, the bad character development, the way the traps are done with the PG-13, and also with some of the most idiotic character decisions and the stupid bullcrap twist of this entire movie, it just does not interest me whatsoever, and this is a bit of boredom too. The traps work fine, but when it's not a trap, it just turns into a boring 24-hour boring channel for 24 hours. Escape Room Tournament of Champions, I hate this movie. Number 7 is another horror movie, Separation. The director of this movie, William Brandt, you just do not give up, do you? And also, this is the same director of The Devil Inside, which is a movie I didn't like either. I don't know what this movie was trying to be. This movie was trying to be a horror film and a courtroom drama at the same time. I don't know what this movie is trying to do. It is not very creative. It's not very scary. It's not, granted, it's at least somewhat coherent with the story, but not really. But at the same time, the whole separation anxiety thing in this movie is uninspired. The performances in the movie, they're trying, but there's nothing to run home about. I think everything else involving with the movie is not very well done from a direction standpoint, to a writing standpoint, to the cinematography standpoint. This is just a movie that is just plagued and drenched and filled with problems, and there is absolutely no questioning why this movie is the way it is. I really cannot stand Separation. If you are one of those people who didn't know about this and who didn't see this movie, thank goodness you didn't see it. It's not worth it. This is just an hour and some odd minutes of boredom. When you get to the horror stuff, I guess that's okay, but even the horror stuff, at the end of the day, from the director of The Boy 2 and The Devil Inside, it's not even that interesting. It's boring, it's done and over with in less than 2 minutes, and on top of that, I have nothing else to say. I have nothing else to say about it. I have talked about this in its own individual review. I talked about it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Separation, you are truly a bad horror movie of this year, and you were definitely the worst horror movie of the year. Escape Room 2, while it wasn't good, at least it has some moments of merit. This movie almost has little to no merit, and I never want to talk about this movie again. Screw Separation. Coming in 5th place, Netflix, you are on this list, and he's all that. Yup, they did it. The original She's All That isn't that great of a movie, but you know what? For the 90s, it did have the 90s charm to it, 90s aesthetic, and it knows what it is. When it comes to He's All That, you expect this, considering that the original is not a class by miss, you expect that this could easily be better than the original. And this, I'm sorry, not only is this one of the worst things ever, but this is also one of the most offensively bad remakes. I don't understand how the director of Freaky Friday and Mean Girls and even Vampire Academy, which wasn't a good movie by any means necessary, but it had a few positives to it, I don't understand how you fall from grace this badly. Now, on top of that, everything in this movie is basically shot for shot, scene for scene, word for word, same movie. Nothing is different. The only slight difference here is Rachel Lee Cook plays the mother of the main character, who's not even compelling anyway. And all on top of that, You do have a nice cameo by Matthew Lillard, which I actually liked. And then another difference they make is the main girl character is a freaking TikToker and social media star. Yes, because Addison Rae is a social media star. And I'm sorry, for her first film, granted, I'm not gonna give her too much crap, but at the same time, you don't really do anything that interesting to justify your first acting job. Granted, granted, she's at least trying, but come on, if you're gonna step into the acting zone, Addison, read the script first. No, pick the scripts. Then on top of that, Tanner McConaughey from Cobra Kai. I like Cobra Kai. It's awesome. He is probably one of the best things in this movie. But the sad part is he and Addison Rae don't have any chemistry. On top of that, you also have Madison. And actress, I think, is pretty decent in the roles, like in the game plan and Courtney House. And even here, she's one of the few things I like in the movie because she's at least trying. But the story, everything about this movie is completely dumb. This is from the cinematography standpoint. And it even has to play the stupid freaking card. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'll tell you. The card that the freaking SJW card stuff. Really? Really? That's the level of stupidity we're getting here. Then this movie has to say it's offensive to both, not only just guys, but also to women. And just the freaking social media. I done a full, unedited, uncensored rant on this movie. I don't feel like talking about this movie again because if I talk about this movie anymore, it's going to literally irritate the living piss out of me. So, ultimately, this is definitely one of the worst movies of the year. If you want to know my full thoughts, go to my channel, type He's All Doubts, and you will see what I'm talking about. Because this is bad. This is definitely the worst Netflix movie I've seen. This is definitely one of the worst remakes I've seen. This is the most saddest excuse for a teen romantic comedy I've seen. And I'm a fan of these type of movies. When you do them right, I give you respect. But when you do them in such a bad way, then to quote Gene Wilder from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So, at the end of the day, I hate this film. I know there's probably some people who watch this on Netflix. So if you like this film, that is cool. Because we all have our own opinions. But I just find He's All That to be unwatchable, and I thought this was a waste of what could have been a somewhat solid enough remake if the main actress had a better script to work with. Do not see He's All That. Just don't. Coming to number 5, we're getting into the shit now. Ape versus Monster. Really, The Asylum? Really? Really? I swear, this movie tries so hard to be Godzilla vs. Kong. Which, if you not see the poster for Ape vs. Monster, that's what this shot-for-shot wannabe of Godzilla vs. Kong. But the difference between Godzilla vs. Kong is that movie knew what it was. It was entertaining, it has some interesting characters, and it just needs to be a fun creature feature film. And I am a fan of kaiju creature monster movies. The Asylum, I really don't want to get into them. The only few things I like from them is Megafault, which I thought was good, and I actually didn't hate the Sharknado movies. But when it comes to this, this is easily the worst thing The Asylum has done. The effects are terrible, especially with the Ape versus Monster stuff. The effects are terrible. The characters and the characterization is terrible. The action between the ape versus ape and the monster, that's the only thing good about it, because it was at least competent and it was at least watchable. The performances are bad. Now, Eric Roberts, you are completely underutilized. And on top of that, the main black girl in this movie, the main actress in this movie, she's not even that good to begin with. And I hate saying that because I am rooting for people of color to lead movies. I'm rooting for people to root. But when you have actors like this who are directed so freaking poorly with a horrible fucking script, you know exactly what you're gonna get yourself into. My God, this movie is irritating. But after it was over, I was angered. And it just made me go back and rewatch Godzilla vs. Kong again. Because that was a fun movie. Godzilla vs. Kong 2.0 is what this is. But if you took the budget from Godzilla vs. Kong and did it a lot shittier. And easily, there's a reason why this is on my worst of the list. And wow. And I do think the main actress herself, she can be good if you give her a good script, if you give her something to work with. But this was dead on arrival. Ape vs. Monster, stay away from it. It's not worth your time. It's not fun. It's not engaging. It's not even at least laughably bad or entertaining, hilarious, fun. It's not even dumb fun like Sharknado or Ice Catastrophe. This is just bad on an embarrassment and entertainment. And I was so freaking irritated by when this movie ended. Stay away from Ape vs. Monster. Stay the F away. Stay away. Stay away. Coming in fourth place, Bruce Willis. We need to have a conversation about this, alright? We need to have a conversation. So let's get into it. Cosmic Scene! Oh my God! What happened here? Bruce Willis, what happened to you, man? You used to be one of the best actors who always tries. Even in your bad movies, back then you would always put some decent amount of effort. But now that you're older and now you're doing direct-to-DVD stuff, just direct-to-video lands, it's like you're not even passionate anymore. You're not even trying anymore. And I like Bruce Willis, despite people saying he is a bit of an asshole on set of his movies that he's doing. He is a good actor. Die Hard, The Fifth Element, Tears of the Sun, which I think is underrated, the Red movies. And this is also a waste of a rest supporting cast. Frank Grillo, who is also wasted. CJ Perry, Lana from WWE, Perry Reeves. A lot of this cast in this movie is wasted. The only time this movie is actually somewhat watchable is when the alien shit happens, and when the sci-fi stuff happens, and even that isn't that well shot, honestly. It is so filled with lens flares, it's so freaking edited badly, so directed incompetently. There is a good idea here, and I think the idea here is actually interesting, but the problem is just a mix of Edge of Tomorrow mixed with Happy Death Day and The Tomorrow War, which was a better movie than this, and is done a lot way worse. And look, I respect that this is an original direct-to-video movie. I'm always for original filmmaking as well as my blockbusters, but when you do original films this freaking badly, with no passion, no heart, and no care, what do you think is going to happen? Easily, I'm going to say something. I'm easily going to get irritated because a sci-fi movie like this should not be boring. Chaos Walking, I don't like that movie either, but at least it had a few moments of action. Dune Part 1 was a better movie, and that movie was awesome. That movie was magnificent. This is a movie that you are easily going to forget about by the time this movie is over. And I am easily irritated that I had to watch this movie. but I do it just for you guys. I sit through most of these bad movies for you guys, so I can tell you to avoid it. And with that being said, screw Cosmic Sin. Fuck this movie. Coming in third place, worst offender, Run, Hide, and Fight. This was made by the Daily Wire. Now, technically, this was my least favorite movie of the year because something as simple and as heartbreaking as a school shooting should never be made fun of. That should be an easily deep, compelling drama. Now, I know this movie has a share of fans, and I definitely do respect that. I definitely respect that this movie has a share of fans. If you like something like this, more power to you. But this is a movie that it just takes the idea of a school shooting. Not only it doesn't make it dramatic or emotionally compelling, you turn this into a freaking die-hard action wannabe, which I'll say it right now. The action, for what it's worth, it's entertaining, it's brutal, it's intense, but that does not excuse the fact that you're playing with something that is very serious and that does not need to be played with. And granted, I will say this is made by the Daily Wire. I'll give him, the director, credit. He had a vision. But when it comes to the script and the characters and the concept, this not for me. And I don't mind a brutal, intense direct-to-video action thriller. It can be done right if you give it a first chance. But when you play with something, a subject matter that's not meant to be played with, you're not only being offensive, but you're also being a bit embarrassed to actually be who you truly are. Granted, there is some good performances in this movie, like Isabel May, and I will say that the dad was good, and some of her friends were good as well. Now, I will say the action is good. The cinematography is well done for a movie made by the Daily Wire. But everything else, as far as the character development, the lack of thrills and such, it's terrible. And not only that, I almost really want to put this at number one for playing the card again by having a scene with these characters, and there's a black character who's walking to school and they just throw him on the ground. No, that shit is not gonna fly. Especially with Black Lives Matter and what happened now, that's not gonna fly anymore. At the end of the day, this is not worth it. This is not a good movie. Like I said, if any of you guys out there like it, I respect you, but I'm sorry, this is just not good. This is just not a very good movie. Again, it had good intentions, but unfortunately, you offended a lot of people with some of the decisions you made. And I can see why some people say this is the most offensive movie of the year. I can also see why some people actually enjoy this. But for me personally, this is just not for me. If you want to do a movie about a school shooting next time, make it emotionally impactful. If you want to have some die-hard throwback fun, sure, do that as well, but make it at least competent and watchable. Run, Hide, and Fight is neither one of those things. Like I said, the main girl is good. Isabel May, I want to see her in more stuff. Some of these other performances are good, but it's not enough to sit through this movie. It is not enough. Coming in second place, the runner-up. If you guys know me, you know how much I despise this franchise ever since 2019. This easily should have been number one, but something else was worse than this, and that is After We Fell. Congratulations, After We Fell. You did not make my number one worst of the year, but that does not save you. The first After movie was bad. It's one of my least favorite romance movies ever. It's one of my least favorite films of all time. Is the worst movie of the last decade, but it's at least somewhat trying. After We Collided is just even worse compared to the first movie. I don't want to talk about After We Collided again, but After We Fell, the thing that this does have over After We Collided is that it's at least unintentionally hilariously funny. Yes, I went there. At least this movie is at least somewhat unintentionally funny. There are some moments here that when Harden takes his rage out, I'm just sitting there laughing because at this point, you can't. I'm all out of pain to give to this franchise. It still has the same stupid character decisions we made. It still has the toxic, abusive, controlling, manipulating relationship that Tessa Harden still has. And it still has the bad, stupid writing decisions and stupid character moments that happens, especially with Harden, where there is one scene I did like in the movie, like I said, when Tessa calls Harden out on his bullshit. But the rest of the scenes, when it gets to Harden talking to his father, Harden arguing with his mom over her getting married and talking to another guy, the scenes with him and Tessa arguing with each other, I'm like, we get it already. This is a toxic, abusive relationship. And not only that, it's like Harden, at this point, he's just gone full Christian Grey. At this point, he's not trusting. He's not trustworthy. He's not even at least I really am just so fed up. I'm fed up with this After franchise, people. I'm fed up with this After franchise because I am getting sick of this. Straight up sick of this. And not only that, like I said, Josephine Langford and Terrifying Stephen, I don't blame them for these scripts. I don't blame the rest of the cast for the script. Even Ariel Campbell, who is severely wasted. None of this cast is to blame for this movie. But even the director, Casto Landon, I'm not blaming her because she's only doing a job. But this is the most offender, and I just cannot stand this franchise. Once After Ever Happy comes out, I will be completely free. I will be cleansed of this franchise. I will not have to watch any more of these After movies because I had it with this franchise. This franchise has gone on for far too long, and we're only in the third movie, and then you're gonna do a freaking prequel movie. Hell no. I don't want any more of this. I don't want to see this be continued in any way, shape, form, or size. You want to know what's a better romance movie this year? To All the Boys, P.S. Always and Forever. That was better. Even some of the Hallmark movies that I've seen were better. Better and worse. The good ones and the bad ones. After We Fell, while I did at least enjoy myself for how unintentionally bad it was, and I did laugh a bit, like I said, these movies, I would easily not have a problem with these movies if they would deviate from the source material. And I'm done talking about it. This is a bad movie, and it's entertainingly bad. But it's not as my number one worst movie of the year. And if you watch my rant of this movie, you probably know what it is. But After We Fell, you're a bad movie. You are unintentionally hilarious, but at least you're not number one. So I can give you that. But the number one worst movie of 2021, obviously this is the most offensive and the most angry I have been. And oh my god, I'm just gonna say it right now. You know what this is because it made my worst movies of all time. Music. I am still pretty much pissed off, pretty much angered that I had to watch this bullshit. But I did it anyway, and it made it for an entertaining review, and I was pretty damn happy with how their reviews turn out, because music is the directorial debut of Sia. And this is just nothing but a past vanity project for her, just to find every single damn excuse of the fucking book to say that autistic community and the autistic people suck. That's what this movie is she's promoting here. And when I saw reviews of this, I'm like, I'm staying away from it. And then one of my friends from YouTube said, Josh, that challenge you to watch this. So I gave in to the challenge. And I was hoping this would not be as bad as everybody said it was. I was hoping it was. And obviously that was not the case. This movie is insulting to every inch of my fucking core. This movie pisses me off with every single thing in my body, every single body cell, every single piece of my skeleton bone in my body. Because this actually could have been a really great movie about how people need to treat the autistic community better. And Sia thinks that she is making this Oscar-winning movie. But unfortunately, you ain't making an Oscar winner. You're making a bunch of pretentious bullshit that is basically just saying that the autistic community is the worst thing ever. And there are a multitude of scenes in this movie that shows that. But you wanna know the things that I really was pissed off about with this movie? Not only Sia's writing and direction was terrible, but also I feel like the musical numbers, well choreographed, but they definitely, this is just a music video acid trip. And on top of that, the freaking character of the Kate Hudson plays is the most despicable, bitchiest characters in film history. She makes Hardin Scott look like Agent Smith from The Matrix. And by comparison, and that says something because I hate the character of Hardin Scott even worse, but this character is easily a contestant. Also, if you were gonna go this route and make it, this character should not even been autistic, because there's not much in this movie that makes her autistic. There's even a freaking line of dialogue in this movie that is so freaking ridiculous. And then there's moments in this movie where Kate Hudson's character is taking Maddie Ziegler, who's playing this character, this was made while she was a little girl. So Maddie Ziegler, this is not her fault. She does fine for what she's given. So is Leslie Jr. But Kate Hudson is easily the worst offender of this bullshit. And on top of that, you really are. This movie really tries to get us to feel so bad for Kate Hudson when she almost sells music to drugs. Are you fucking kidding me? You do not get to play this route with me. And not only that, me as a freaking autistic male, and even people I've seen talk to people in the YouTube comments and on Instagram who are autistic, and they even hated this movie. So I'm not alone. And at least Maddie Ziegler had the nerve to come out and apologize. And you know what, Maddie Ziegler? Good for you. Because you were much better in the West Side Story remake than you were. And I really don't feel like talking about this movie as long as I am. But you know what? I have to do this because I need to get every piece of anger I have towards this movie. Direction is bad. The screenwriting is bad. The characters is embarrassing. The ending in this movie is so freaking half-assed that this movie, it feels like 7.5 hours of pain. By the time this movie ended, I wanted to literally just throw something for the hour and 43 minutes that I spent watching this shit. And I'll get to the main reason why I really hate this movie as badly as I do, because even a YouTuber named Paige Lale, she's an autistic YouTuber like me, definitely go check her out. I will link her video about this movie in the description box down below, and you will see a card up there. But all in all, music, this is a movie that this could have been something, but everything from the directing to the technical aspects to the writing to the characters to the story, even as far as the production design, everything about this movie, you have extra money and this movie feels cheap as fuck. And not only that, the fact that this movie has to come out at the beginning, and this movie has to get some Golden Globe nominations, is laughable to me. And then the fact that this movie really thinks is something more than it is beyond ridiculous to me. But I really hate Music, the movie. This, I've explained in my review, I've talked in depth about it, I've talked in depth about this film in my freaking worst movies of all time, and I just really hate the fact that this movie even exists, because if you are autistic, you should be pissed off. I know there are some people out there who actually do like this movie, and you know what, good for you. I guess I somehow applaud you for liking this movie, but at the same time, I just don't really understand what other people can see in a movie like this. A movie in this that is so offensive to the autistic community in every which way possible. And this is the reason why I hate this movie the way I do. And here it goes. When the singer-songwriter, Sia, who I do like her music, and the director of this bullcrap, comes out and has the nerve on social media, especially Twitter, to talk about and disrespect the entire autistic community in her tweets, and getting overly defensive about this movie. I'm autistic, Sia, and guess what? I think this movie fucking sucks. So what are you gonna do now? Because there's plenty of autistic actors that could have done a great job with this, and you even hired a damn autistic actress, but you said the person was too much and you fired her. So what? And then the fact you want us to watch a movie before we judge it? No. Everybody who is autistic has a damn right to judge it, because there is no reason for this. And then you said. And then the fact that you try to defend music as disabled. No. There is a difference between disabled and autistic, Sia. And then, in what way is this an appropriate response? You want cookies in the claim for telling the movie about autistic people, but you don't want to listen to us and insult them? Oh, get over it. This is... Just know what, Sia, man up and say your movie sucks. How about that? Anyways, that was enough ranting on my number one. I hope you enjoyed my worst of the year. I'm sorry this is a bit long, but I just needed to curse, scream, let out every piece of anger out of me, especially with Music and After We Fell. Because after the last After movie next year, I will be free of that franchise. I'm done with the After series. And anyone else who does not like toxic movies about abusive relationships, you should be done with After 2. Especially if you're a fan of those books. Anyways, guys, in the comment section down below, what did you guys think of my least favorite movies of 2021? Did you like my list? Did you hate it? Be sure to like this video, comment down below my best movies of the year and my superhero tier, and my top 5 disappointments and surprises should already be up by the time you see this. We're gonna have a great 2022, and I'll see you guys in the next one.